Dear ones, today we're going to talk about relationships between men and women. Many of you have probably experienced relationships that felt out of balance. We find ourselves in toxic or even abusive dynamics. It's incredibly painful, and many wonderful women don't know how to leave. It's even harder to understand in advance how to avoid entering such relationships at all. How to recognize that a man may be prone to aggression, toxic behavior, or carrying unhealthy patterns shaped by his upbringing and past. Without this knowledge, we enter these relationships and sometimes spend years trying to break free. But even when a woman finally gathers the strength, support, and courage to leave, very often she ends up in a similar toxic pattern again. So why does this happen? Why do we keep falling into the same life trap? We live in a civilization where the cult of the body, the cult of food, and the cult of comfort dominate. Meanwhile, spiritual knowledge, everything connected to energy, deeper connection between people, has largely been displaced, forgotten, or simply not passed on. Everything is structured so that a person thinks mainly about physical comfort and what to eat next. As a result, we're left without an understanding of energy, true connection, and conscious partnership. If we look deeper, we can see that there are essentially two types of relationships. Just as there are two types of actions in life in general, conscious and unconscious. Unconscious means acting without understanding why or how we're doing it. We're told, you need to start a family. So we do it unconsciously. We don't think about timing, whether it's a favorable period. We don't deeply consider with whom exactly we're creating this. Often a woman ends up with the man who showed interest in her first. It happens more by chance than by conscious choice. We don't know how to celebrate a wedding from an energetic perspective. We don't know how to deeply evaluate whether a partner truly suits us. We don't understand that behind a man stands his entire family lineage. When we enter serious relationships, we're in a sense connecting with a whole family history. That's how unconscious relationships are formed. A random partner, a random family background, random timing. When so many uncontrolled factors come together in one place, what's the result? Discomfort, negativity, suffering, conflicts. It becomes very hard to get out of later. But it's important to acknowledge one thing. If you found yourself in such a situation due to a lack of knowledge, you gained something incredibly valuable. You gained experience. Tell yourself, I've gained this experience. Now I don't want to repeat it. I want to change the pattern. If you're one of the women who wants this shift, let's talk about the second type of relationship, conscious relationships. It all begins with self-study. Who am I? What is my natural energy? Fire, air, earth, or water? What emotional tone do I naturally carry? How do I make decisions? Through emotions, through intellect, or through physical sensations? In ancient teachings, these were described as three types of personalities. This is extremely important. For example, if your partner experiences the world through the body, type 1, and you experience it through intellect, type 3, conflicts can arise even in simple situations. He says, let's go skiing. He just gets up and goes. You ask, wait, explain to me how to do it. He says, why explain? Just get up and go. Conflict. He says, let's cook dinner. You want to look up the recipe. He says, why read? Just start chopping and we'll see what happens. Conflict. With parenting too, he says, let's just do it. You say, let's first research parenting methods. Conflict. So first, learn your emotional type and decision-making style. Then ask yourself, what kind of partner would be energetically, karmically, and in terms of family background harmonious with me? Create a clear portrait of your desired partner, qualities that truly match your nature and emotional makeup. Then make a second list. qualities you absolutely do not want to accept, addictions, uncontrolled anger, disrespect toward women, the pattern of all ex-wives are crazy, financial irresponsibility, emotional abuse. Write it down clearly so you won't overlook red flags later. Next, form a clear, emotional, and energetic intention and send it out to the universe. When the request comes from an awakened, conscious soul, the universe responds. A person appears in your life, seemingly by chance. Timing matters here. Whether it's marriage or moving in together, it's best to approach each stage consciously. Ideally, if there's a spiritual mentor guiding you. On this path, you will meet many men. If you're practicing spiritual growth, your energy can attract strongly. But not every attraction means compatibility. In ancient times, women would gently but precisely test men. They created subtle situations to observe a man's true reaction. Only after he passed such tests would the relationship deepen emotionally and physically. There's a 1990s film called American Shaolin, the story of a young American who went to China to train at the Shaolin monastery. At first, they wouldn't let him in. He stood outside the gates in the rain for days. That was the first test of persistence. Later, after his training, he was given a scroll and told to deliver it to an ancient monk. On the way, he met an old man who began falling into a gorge. He had a choice, save the man or save the precious scroll. He dropped the scroll and saved the old man. The scroll turned out to be blank. It was the final test of his humanity. In our school, we teach women to gently and wisely observe a man's reactions in unexpected, challenging situations. Through his responses, you can see whether he is emotionally mature, capable of compassion, or still immature. When all these stages are passed consciously, you can build truly conscious relationships. You may ask, where do we find such men? I recommend watching the film or reading the book Untold Story of Love. It's the real story of two people who met at a seminar and built a conscious relationship. They intentionally approached marriage, having a child, and developing their partnership based on spiritual principles. Their story became a bestseller in spiritual communities and was later adapted into a film. Today, we spoke about two types of relationships, unconscious and conscious. If you felt how powerful a conscious partnership can be, click next, watch the following video, and register for our seminar, Conscious Relationships with a Partner. Let's move together toward true feminine happiness. Before the seminar, please watch all episodes of Untold Story of Love. See you soon.